On this episode of Cigars and Sea Stories, Mike and Bennett are sitting down to discuss, well, it's kind of like a recap on Veterans Day events and what have you. We've already done one of those in regard to Bennett's Spartan race, but I wanted to touch base in regard to the GI Bill benefits and a lot of what has been going on, not necessarily behind closed doors, but the way that a lot of folks regard the GI Bill. And I don't think that civilians really understand the fact that you mandatorily will pay into that, right? I don't think that I was given the option. Was I given the option?
Yeah, you were technically.
Was I?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's not, I should say it is not mandatory, but I think it kind of comes off, especially when they're basically like, here, sign this.
Right.
Don't worry about what it says, but this is for your GI Bill, and everyone just kind of like goes, oh, okay.
Right.
I actually did have a guy that was like, no, I'm not doing it. But that was, back in the 90s.
Right.
He's like, no, I'm never going to college.
So keep in mind, I had just turned 18 years old. This is the first time that I was away from home alone, right? I'm now sleep deprived and in a room with all of these other retards. And they say, sign all of this documentation or join the Marine Corps. We all know that you did drugs. Does he really know? No one knows that you did drugs. They're just doing an integrity check. But then comes around with all of the other, right? You remember this. It's like the first week in boot camp. And they come up, hey, we're going to set up your bank account. We're going to do this, that, or whatever. And this is automatic withdrawal. What the fuck's that?
Direct deposit. And here's all your other bullshit.
I have no idea what any of these.
Here, and here.
And I have no idea what any of these terms mean.
Right.
None. Oh, you didn't know what direct deposit was? No. When I was 18 years old, no, I had no idea what direct deposit was. What, are you fucking kidding me? And so you fill all of this stuff out. Okay, so what's a PFC coming out? Not a PFC, a private coming out of boot camp. You're making $1,300 a month, maybe?
If that. When I came out, it was a lot less.
Yeah.
But now I think it's probably around $1,300.
And I don't know. I don't have the information in front of me. Maybe I should Google this shit real quick. Figure out what an E1 in the Marine Corps makes. Who the fuck cares? He can't afford $100 a month, right? And when he or she looks at her paycheck, right, and she's standing there going, okay, wait a minute. So I just got done with recruit training. She passed MCT and is now in her MOS school, and finally gets to the fleet. They'll have zero money whatsoever. Well, who the hell cares? They're going to be in school the entire time. Yeah, I get it. Totally understand. But the thing is that you paid into a system, right? Which, don't get me wrong, it's kind of like it's a fund. Is what you're doing.
Well, that's the misconception too, that people don't understand that. I mean, yes, it was minimal amount. I mean, we only paid in $1,200 or $1,200 or $1,900 respectively. Depends, because you could do the kicker as well. So, but $1,200 a month or $1,200 into the system, that when you get out, you can use the GI Bill. That's a small price to pay. We all know that. Yeah. But we still did not only pay with our own money, we also paid with a little bit of blood most of the time. So, you know what I mean? It's, So there you go.
Well, and here's the argument that I'm looking to make, and I'll just tell you flat out. That GI Bill, I don't look at it as though, hey, don't get me wrong, that's my money, okay, in order to invest in myself for the future that I have already paid into. Do I look at it as a true, like, I'm entitled to this and all of these different things? No. What I'm saying is that pool of money that is set aside specifically for me, that I have secured by paying into this program, was set aside so that I could invest in myself to further my education and then go be a productive member of society, be successful within an American society, and add to the GDP overall. When I did the post 9/11 GI Bill, I thought it was a fantastic thing. Paying for the rent, all of this other stuff. Okay, cool.
But it's still not that much money at the end of the day. When it comes out, you're not supporting a family on your GI Bill money.
No, not at all. And that's one of my beefs, actually, is the fact that, great, you're helping me as far as the rent is concerned, and I totally get that, but I still have to have a part-time job if I'm going to make ends meet. My wife still needs to work. There's childcare to sort out, all of these other things. I'm not saying that more money is the solution here, okay? Mind you, I am not saying that. What I am saying is access to that pool of money to do whatever you want with it. And what do I mean by that? Now, here's the argument, the counter argument for this. All right. I'll just flat out tell you up front. If you were to be able to take that money and do whatever you want with it, you could go and just blow it. Okay. Now you have your TSP account for that. If you want to go blow money, on whatever the fuck floats your boat, that's what your TSP was for. Your GI Bill is to invest in yourself, all right? So we understand that it's within that box, so to speak, right? Now, here's the problem as I see it. They shrunk the box to only higher education.
Correct.
And that's only, now, some people say, hey, wait a minute, you can go the trade route and the GI Bill pays for it. Yeah, that's still higher education. That's an associate's degree.
Right. It's still
you can get a fucking PhD in welding, for fuck's sake. People don't realize that. So that's still higher education. But the point that I'm looking to illustrate, now keep in mind, you can get a home loan. You can get a 0% down VA home loan. Extremely easy to do that because our AAA mortgages hold our housing market basically aloft. So they need to have veterans in that as far as VA home loans. I get it. If you want to upfit your house to fit your business, you can do that, but you need to be like a fucking triple amputee. Like you need to be seriously fucking handicapped.
Correct.
In order to make that happen.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to get at is I really wish that there was a program for guys like Mike, who could go through like a community college 2-year certification course, an associate level entrepreneurship course, and then the other 2 years worth of education, whatever the fuck that bundle of money looks like, gets put towards an entrepreneurial endeavor. Gets put towards, great, I got an associate's degree, I've got 60 fucking credits plus.
Oh, but people will say, what about vocational rehabilitation?
Right. And none of that money you can use as capital in a startup. None of that money. Voc Rehab, GI Bill. Now, I'll tell you what you can do. The Montgomery GI Bill you can still use as capital towards your business, but you have to play the system.
Yeah, but then you have to also, it depends on where you're from.
Right.
It depends on the state that you are living in. Right. Like if you lived in the state of Connecticut, per se. So this is one of these tidbits of great info. If you live in the state of Connecticut, per se, the state of Connecticut waives if you are and I can't remember if it's a wartime veteran or an actual just a veteran. They waive all tuition at state schools.
Wow.
So your GI Bill would basically go to you.
There you go. The Montgomery GI Bill would.
Correct. So if you played the game correctly, got out, you would get every dime of that Montgomery GI Bill would go into your pocket. Post 9/11, it doesn't work that way, but
well, and that's the thing is each one of I'm not gonna say that I was duped. I'm not gonna say that I was coaxed or anything else.
Well, and
like
then
that.
Voc Rehab to take advantage of that though, you have to be I'm saying this with air quotes. You have to be a disabled veteran.
All right, you have to have a 0% rating or up.
Well, no, you really to get full advantage of it, you have to have a 20% rating or higher.
Gotcha.
If there's a 10 or 0% rating, then you could, but it's all up to interpretation at that point. It's up to the vocational. It's up to the person that is doing your counseling.
Well, and I'm going to tell you right now, the reason why I say this is because I went to this franchise expo over the weekend. Great event, cool. Big footprint over there in the Raleigh Convention Center. It's fantastic. We were doing this thing with a veteran panel, and each one of them were in different franchises. The hardest part, the biggest hurdle is always capital. In order to start it, you got to have skin in the game, so that way it hurts a little bit, so on and so forth. Yeah, well, here's the thing is, in order to secure a lot of that capital, banks or any other traditional lending agent would look at you and say, we need additional collateral, and that would include your house. Yeah, well, fuck you, buddy. I'm not going to put my house up, for this business loan. It's just not going to happen.
Well, but that's the other thing. What E5 getting out of the
has a house.
Marine Corps has a house.
Right. And that's exactly
they very well might, but
and that's exactly what these franchisees were saying.
But it's probably not going to be in like Raleigh, or it's not going to be in, you know what I mean? It's going to be in, you know what I'm saying, dude.
Oh, I know exactly what you're saying. But the whole point is the opposition to this idea is saying, well, you could go and just, all of that money would be lost. And okay, now keep in mind, the conversation went like this. We are all asking questions of one another. Hurdles for entry. One of the guys owned a burger joint, Highway 55. There's a lot of of turnover. Somebody else owned a blinds distributor. They said that a lot of their employees who are coming out of the back gate are saying, no, installing blinds is beneath me, right? Whereas like, I kind of look at that job and I'm like, wait a minute, you're going to give me a crew of people and then all I need to do is go around and install blinds for folks? Like,
yeah, exactly.
That's pretty, yeah, like I'd do that. That's easy work, as far as whatever. Somebody else was running a J-Dog junk removal, Phil Marine. So it was cool, man. It was like they had franchises that were running and functional and everything else, and they were making money at it. But the problem is that everybody felt that it immediately put them into a debtor's prison, essentially. And it was just too hard to figure out how to get that 25th hour out of the day in order to get enough capital to make stuff really, really happen and grow. And the problem is there's just not there definitely is enough capital and enough money to go around. You can fucking print money. It's fugazi. It's all fucking ones and zero bullshit on a fucking screen. That's the beautiful thing about economics. So interest rates is extremely low. All of the resources, monetarily speaking, were crammed into this fucking World Wrestling Federation political event that we just saw, which is a shocking outcome. But all of this capital, as I see, is gone. I mean, my finger's on the pulse watching all of this happen. And the argument to be made here is, I get it. You don't want to give up the pot of gold at the university level so that I can take that money and go and put it somewhere else that would just go into a private market, maybe offshore or something else like that. I totally get it, especially the people who are managing that money and so on, right? Because BlackRock handles that. But what I'm trying to get at is there's got to be some sort of process to where you have the ability to get through, even if you're, and I get it. When I came out of the Marine Corps, I was not an entrepreneur. I needed to go through entrepreneurial training. But if I could go through a 2-year entrepreneurial training course, followed up by taking essentially 2 years worth of education funds, just literally take however much you spent on the community college route, and here you go. You have that capital in order to go and start your business, and if you choose to do that, you can. For fuck's sake, you can take your own benefit and give it to somebody else. You can give it to a spouse and you can give it to a child. You know what I mean? But they just don't want that money leaving the system within it, which is why you see grants that are written for things to stay in the system, which really means that they keep the money.
Well, it's one of the things, like I talked about this to a lot of people this weekend at the expo, the Vets Rock Expo. Mm-hmm. And they're like, well, how do you fund yourself? Talking about Warrior Hall. And I'm like, well, pretty much I take money that I get from my own money and I put it into it, because there are no real grant. I don't want to be beholden to the VA. I'm already beholden to them in my job, that kind of thing. But I don't really want public money if I don't have to, because there's always strings attached. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So finding that money out there is difficult. It really, really is. So,
well, and it's, we have a term of finding the cheapest money.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
You pretty much almost like have to sell, especially as a nonprofit. You almost have to sell your soul a little bit. And I'm not willing to do it. So you got to be, so the other alternative, Michael, is what? Being creative, I guess. Finding creative financing strategies, and it would be great if, the GI Bill or whatever. The problem is that they lose the control.
Right.
And they don't have a way that if you mess up, then they take it all back. Because they even do that with the GI Bill now. If you get an F in a class or whatever, they're going to get their money back.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's not all sunshine and rainbows and unicorn horns on that side of it, because people mess up. People have life. People, it's not like you can get out of the military and become a full-time student. It doesn't really work that way.
Right. Unless you're single and you don't have any children.
Right. Exactly.
And you just were in service and stayed in the barracks and never went anywhere else and ate in the chow hall and never did anything else. Right. And then when you get out, you might have enough.
Is that you kind of got to look at it. You kind of got to look at it in the way is like we made the choice that we made our own choice as well. Absolutely. We do get an opportunity that other people don't get, but we could have gone to college too. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's a difficult thing, but it's,
I'm not, you got to understand though, I'm not looking for a fucking handout, for Christ's sake. I am one of the most fiscally conservative people in the world.
Yes.
I want you want to know something? If somebody asked me what they really wanted, what I really wanted, I would say shut down the VA, close all programs for veterans in general. You think I'm fucking crazy? Don't feed the animals. Why are we putting more fucking money into this? This is ridiculous.
Well, it's in essence, it's kind of the situation that in this country that we do it with education, we do it with everything.
Right.
You throw more money at it, it'll fix it. Right.
Right.
But that never works.
But we're throwing more money at it through the .gov system, and people are making a shit ton of skim off money.
Right. And what I'm saying though is that instead of actually looking at the core base issue, that the core problem,
right,
and fixing it from the ground up, they throw more money at it.
Right. No,
or
I'm out.
They come up with some, Common Core or some, what was Bush's program? No Child Left Behind.
Right.
So everyone comes up with this new fandangled unique program that costs billions of dollars to roll out. Ridiculous. And then they change it in 3 years anyway. It's all politics.
Right.
So this is politics too.
Right, exactly. And that's exactly what I mean. It's not so much, I'm not pissing and moaning over what the system is. What I'm
of course
saying,
not. How do we fix it?
Well, that's what I mean, is that you don't. You make the previous obsolete. I'm saying thanks so much for the DD-214, went through your VA bullshit so that I could get my fucking disabilities locked on. Do not go to VA appointments after that. I just don't. There you go. Thanks so much for the veteran card so that I can verify my fucking discounts wherever I go. And
right.
We'll see if I take advantage of the zero down home loan. Maybe. The Patriot Express loan is a joke. Good luck trying to get that.
That's a joke with the SBA. Well, it doesn't exist anymore, does it?
No. Now they took that away.
It doesn't exist anymore.
So I mean, that's the whole thing. Is like, I'm not pissing and moaning over .gov. I have always known, that .gov sucks. Always. I'm sorry. You have people who really care that are within .gov. They're not going to do shit. I'm sorry. It just doesn't. It's a pipe dream.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, I see it all the time. So folks are like, well, how do we do this? How do we navigate? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you don't. You hop right the fuck out of that and you go and you do it on your own. Whether that's bootstrap, blah, 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 all of these other things. Well, how do you do that? How do you free it up so that somebody who wants to do that, I want to do that, I will voluntarily get the fuck off this ship. I want off. I will jump into the middle of the fucking ocean so long as I don't have to sink with all you morons, right? So how do we finance to whatever extent? And it's not a program or anything else. I'm saying the guy who jumps off into the ocean, who needs to figure it out on their own. What I'm saying is that there's been so much shit collected on to all of this .gov and politics and everything else that unfortunately the capital resources as we view them are just not there. There are too many barriers to entry, so to speak, for too many markets, which is what we're seeing in veterans and entrepreneurship. We see it all the time. They might even have the best problem in the world, which is I cannot produce enough to meet demand. And they still can't find capital. Excuse me? I even raised the price point. Okay, so you raise the price point, demand is increasing, and you can't find the capital necessary to do it. So who gets fucked? Do you do advanced purchase orders so that it takes forever to meet your demands? And people don't get product for 3-4 months at a time. You can't do that, right? So now it's like, okay, well, do you go to a venture capitalist? That's the most expensive money you're going to look at. Do you go to an angel? Do you go to friends, families? Where's the capital freed up?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's like and all that I'm saying is I have capital right here that is in my GI Bill that I could potentially use. Here's my executive summary, business plan, all of these other things, which I don't feel that I should have to show anybody. Let me use that to invest in this so that I have this is the company. It's going out of one tax vessel into another tax vessel. It never even goes into a personal account. It goes from this account to a business account. What the hell is going on here? And so I don't know. I don't have the answers or anything else like that. I'm just saying that if you did take away a lot of programs that would not be locking .gov up with bureaucratic nonsense and paperwork after paperwork. I mean, when you see fees on something, that literally means that somebody is just filling out paperwork. You know that, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like he said rhetorically. So, but dude, we're talking to these fellow veterans. I feel it. You can hear it in my voice. But we're talking to these fellow veterans who have got like kick-ass business ideas. And I'm like, where's the capital for this?
Yeah.
Where's it?
Oh, I know.
Up?
I mean, how many times do you and I sit and just think about and come up with great ideas on actual problems that need to be fixed?
Sure.
Or that need to be solved, and we actually might have a solution for them, but we have no way to fund it. I mean, it's not that I want free money. It's not that I want to, go out there and just take. The problem is that there's no, and I guess that's part of being an entrepreneur.
Sure.
Is that risk, and that's fine. But I have to take less risk because I have a family of ladies that I have to take care of, or you know what I mean? Yeah. So unfortunately, I'm not able to go all in because I want my kids to be fed.
Well, right.
So it's one of those things is, do I literally go the route where I have to go on public assistance because I can't pay my bills because I'm chasing this dream? Right. Or what do? I do it as a side gig. All right. So that's what I'm doing now. So I do it as a side gig. And then the next thing I know, it just gets and every entrepreneur that's done this type of stuff, they understand. Right. So it's really about consistency, perseverance, and just nutting down and freaking doing it and sacrificing and stuff. And but it's hard. It's freaking hard, man.
I want to drill down to the absolute point that I'm looking to make here. I'm not looking for a handout. I'm not looking for free money. All that I'm saying is that the GI Bill is the GI Bill. And right now, as it stands, somebody else feels that they have the right to mitigate my risk for me. They are in control of that GI Bill, whether it's post 9/11, Montgomery, it doesn't matter. They feel that the best way to use the GI Bill would be for me to go to college. That's the thing.
It's the only way for you to use your GI Bill.
Right.
Basically. Right. I mean, and then it's like, here's what's funny. It's like, let's say you want to get your PMP.
Right. Project management, right?
Your project management certification, right? Mm-hmm. Well, they'll pay for you to take the test, but they won't pay for you to go to the classes that get you set to take the test. Yeah. Why won't they do that?
Don't know. Well, I've seen somebody use the post 9/11 GI Bill or the Montgomery GI Bill to pay for helicopter lessons. Yeah. Because he could prove that he already had a job lined up as a commercial helicopter.
So there's ways to do it, I guess. I guess there are ways to do it.
Right. But what I'm trying to say, though, is that there are ways to do it, and I understand that it's
either way. It's still only for the education. Monster. It's not actually for like, hey, I need I need all these different things to get started. Right. In my thing. And there is a route to do that through GI or through vocational rehab, but again, it doesn't give you exactly what you would need. Right. Well, then it might give you some of it, but it's not giving you all of it.
I'm the guy basically where, let's say, for instance, they were like, Mike, we're not going to let you go outside of the educational system. However, what we will say is get a 2-year degree in whatever you want. So I would choose entrepreneurship. And then for the next 2 years, you're going to piecemeal together what the other 60 credits look like. And you have to do a capstone that looks like this so that you graduate with a major. I would totally be on board. But that's the thing, is that they've set up Common Core with all of the different tracks. I mean, like, I don't meet anybody outside of my college. That was the other thing that I had an issue with even when I was in, right? And what I mean by that is you have different silos that are your colleges within the university system. So the engineering silo doesn't hook up with the business silo at all until when they get out into the workforce, which is a conversation for another time, I guess. But I would love to do 2 years entrepreneur certification and be able to go over to the engineering school and be able to take like 1 or 2 classes over there, and maybe 1 or 2 classes over the
communication side.
Right.
Or something.
Right. And why would I want to do that? So that I can interact with students out of that college and also learn something out of that discipline so that I can apply it to my entrepreneurial endeavors. We don't have that flexibility.
It's everything is all siloed out. Right. And that's because of self-preservation.
Well, and they feel academic. Right. Right. But there's also a thought where I have chosen this route. Now I'm going to dive into this discipline. And if I want to dive into another discipline, well, then I'll go back to school and maybe get another bachelor's or maybe get a master's in another discipline, in another professional discipline. Right.
Yeah. I've been there.
Right. And then it teeters on up. Right. And I totally understand that. Don't get me wrong. And I can comprehend it. It's just.
Unfortunately, though, too, let's be honest. In this day and age, the degree is becoming less worth anything.
Oh yeah, no. My favorite barista has an excellent degree.
You can literally sit down and learn more on your own, going through classes on, going to the library and reading books. You can teach yourself anything, but you just won't have that shiny little degree diploma, but you'll know everything plus that somebody that has the degree has, and you can do it in about half the time. And
information wise,
yeah. But I mean, what else? It's not like they give you a ton of practical application when you're in school. Right. Let's be honest.
Well, it's the tutelage and the mentorship and any of the connections that come along with the school.
Again, as a veteran, especially, you can go get that elsewhere.
Exactly. If you're a veteran, you don't need a lot of that stuff. Nor would I want a lot of that stuff, frankly.
No.
Probably a lot, as a veteran, you could probably show up to an alumni event anyhow and be like, no, man, I didn't even go to school here. I'm a veteran. I'm poking around. I want to see if maybe this is a good fit for me. And you're going to be able to pull all the network connections that you need. Trust me, I've done that. More than once.
We should probably do a part 2 to this episode.
Right? If anybody, because it's like there are little life hacks that I use all of the time to just, the phrase that I want to say is to go wherever I want, but that's not necessarily the case. To go wherever the goal is. Like I might not necessarily want to go into some of these places. However, it can definitely help in order to get to the next, circle, to the next network, to the next connection, so on and so forth.
Yep.
But that's some of the other stuff also. I mean, like, to steal a phrase from Mark Twain, don't let school get in the way of a good education.
It's true.
And it just drives me nuts because I really felt like I was bogged down by school. And, I still want a proper education. Don't get me wrong. It's just I need to be able to, okay, I'm going to go through this class. That's it. While I'm doing all of these other different things. One fucking class, 4 credit hour, focus on it when I can focus on it, get my deadlines in like anything else.
Yeah.
But the only reason why I would ever do that is for the certification.
Yep.
And so a lot of us, I hear this frustration with a lot of fellow veterans who are out there with the GI Bill, whether it's Montgomery, post 9/11, whatever. If you're one of those veterans and I got a beef with the fact that somebody else feels that this is my best path. I don't like that. It's not control. It's somebody else trying to determine your destiny. And it's like, no, that's not the path that I want. This is how I would rather apply it. It's not like I want to be a dunce. I don't want to be a shit shoveler somewhere. I'm highly ambitious. I just also don't want a piece of paper that is basically worthless.
Right.
Well, it says that you completed it and it depends on the school no, stop. I don't want to hang out with you people. I just don't. That's the other thing. If there was a university for hunters, I would very much so go to it. I would probably get a fucking PhD in hunting. Do we have that yet? Does that exist? Now I'm going to the Google machine. I swear to God, I'm going to look this up. I want to get a degree in hunting. It's probably some sort of ecology, whatever the fuck that you would have to take.
Yeah, you never know. I guess there could be something, especially at some of these outdoorsy type schools.
Right.
But hey, I've got to go.
Listen to this guy. It's okay.
I do.
People don't want to hear me vent the rest of the goddamn time.
They could, though.
It can be frustrating around this time of year, and I need to acknowledge that also. We're not victims here. And so we're looking to put one foot in front of the other, and we're looking for you folks to get in touch with us. So reach out. It's contact@cigarsandseastories.com. Let's interlock. Let's get together. Shoot us an email over at contact@cigarsandseastories.com. You can find us on the web, cigarsandseastories.com/podcast for all of our newest. Thank you so much to listening to another episode. We really hope that this has kind of put a little fire under your ass. We're looking forward to the comments section on this one. So thank you for your service. Here's another green weenie. Bam. What do you think? No? I don't know. A little bit. Well, thank you so much for listening to another episode of Cigars and Sea Stories. And on that note, we cue the music.